Thank you, Caroline. And actually, on a personal note, you mentioned the orange suit and the profession of garbage man in Vienna. That was my dream profession when I was 5 years old, so do not worry, I'm still dreaming. But on a more serious note, ladies and gentlemen, day 3 of the Zero Project Conference 2024. My name is Ramtin Weiss, and as the Director of International Affairs at the Zero Project, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all at the first session of the day. A warm welcome not only to our audience members here at the United Nations office at Vienna, but also to our online audience, near and far. For those of you who can perhaps hear me, but not see me, I'm a white Caucasian male in his mid-30s with short cropped hair and a beard. I'm wearing a blue suit and smiling together with our speakers here on stage because we're really happy and excited to dive in and divulge and elaborate on the essence of Japanese innovation and disability inclusion today. So to our distinct speakers today, I say, Gojin yoku itadaki arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you for your commitment, and thank you for your commitment to disability inclusion. Our journey today will take us through innovative projects and solutions that embody the burgeoning community and commitment of Japan to create a society where every individual is not only enabled, but also included. The initiatives you'll hear from today highlight the technological prowess of Japan, as well as its profound understanding of empathy. And I think it's also very fitting that we convene today on the birthday of Emperor Naruhito, and I think in that spirit, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Mrs. Satoko Hirano from the Toyota Mobility Foundation, and she will present a new and novel way that transports the passion of racing to all. With that being said, Mrs. Hirano, the stage is yours.
Good morning. My name is Satoko Hirano from the Toyota Mobility Foundation. The Mobility for All Idea Contest was launched in 2022, and we have had the opportunity to collaborate on a project with Okayama Broadcasting. I'd like to thank the ESL Foundation for allowing me to introduce our initiatives. The Toyota Mobility Foundation was established to globally support the initiatives of organizations, NPOs, research institutes, and others that contribute to building an ever better mobility society. Based on Toyota's basic founding philosophy of contributing to society through car making, the foundation mainly supports projects and activities of public interest. Our aim is to connect ever better cars that exceed customer expectations with good town and good society initiatives that enrich people's lives. We have been working collaboratively with various partners to address a wide range of issues related to mobility. Our efforts have been focused on eliminating negative elements of automobiles, such as traffic congestion and accidents, reducing inconveniences, pursuing fun, and creating and realizing opportunities that can be achieved through various forms of mobility, including automobiles. Since the establishment of the foundation in August 2014, we are promoting the projects in cooperation with many government agencies, organizations, companies, and other stakeholders in and out of the country. The perspective that we value in our activities is to take care of the socially vulnerable by assisting with issues that are difficult to voice out loud. In addition, we aim to establish a sustainable scheme so the projects will not come to a stop after our support ends. We do so by utilizing and strengths and know-how that have been acquired through the business activities of the Toyota Group. In recent years, the Foundation has focused efforts on 3 areas: traffic safety to eliminate fatalities and injuries, support for people with mobility difficulties to achieve mobility for all, and to develop communities and respond to regional mobility issues. The idea contest was established to focus on the second area of supporting people with mobility difficulties, based on the idea to enable all people to move around freely. The theme of the Mobility for All contest, which started in 2022, is to implement the ideas into society so everyone, regardless of disability, can enjoy watching motorsports. Ideas are gathered and demonstrated to solve transportation issues to the event sites and enable people with disabilities, including visual or hearing disabilities, to enjoy watching the races together. By listening to the feedbacks from people with disabilities involved in the demonstration, the selected teams compete to make products and services even better. Many people with disabilities cooperate with us in the workshops, demonstration, and selection process. We also provide opportunities for the selected teams to receive advice from investors to create sustainable business. Please watch the video to get a better idea of our activities.
Demonstrations of ideas are underway which enables anyone, regardless of disability, to enjoy watching motorsports. Ms. Sadano was born without the ability to hear. She's wearing a special device that translates sound into vibrations. Ms. Sadano says, "I feel the vibrations along with the cars that come from left to right." And over here is the sign language broadcasting. Okayama Broadcasting has been doing this for about 30 years. Some of the hearing-impaired spectators only found out that commentary actually existed after watching these broadcasts. Mr. Akio Toyoda comments, "For the able-bodied, the gestures and facial expressions conveyed a great deal of emotion." This demonstration is being conducted by the Toyota Mobility Foundation. Together with various people who have different thoughts and know-how, they held an idea contest so that everyone can enjoy watching motorsports. There is a team that works closely with people with disabilities. TechnoTool developed a controller that can be easily operated by people with disabilities. They teamed up with Hirokazu Nagaya. Mr. Nagaya was an F3 racer, but he injured his neck 20 years ago in a racing accident. He lost the ability to move his arms and legs like before. Mr. Nagaya explains, "When I first saw this racing simulator, I thought it offers a world that's truly accessible and sustainable. We developed it because we realized the excitement of racing on the same field, regardless of disability." Mr. Shimada describes, "People with disabilities can do more if we change the input operation environment. More people can start working. They can be creators, programmers, or even top-class esports athletes. We thought the combination of this simulator and Mr. Nagaya would have a big impact and provide a good opportunity for people to realize this." This contest was launched in 2022 and has been supported by many people, including people with disabilities and product developers. We will continue to work with our diverse partners to realize a world where everyone can move freely and can be themselves.
Thank you for your warm applause. Through our efforts, the Foundation aims to continue building a scheme that connects people with disabilities with motivated organizations and individuals to work together in finding solutions. Our goal is to create a society that does not give up on obstacles or difficulties and where everyone can take on challenges. As you can see, through our activities in 2022 and 2023, We have received many positive comments from participants and selected teams. The contest is also being held this year, and we look forward to seeing more ideas on mobility for all, which enables anyone to enjoy not only motorsports, but all other sports. We will continue working with Okayama Broadcasting and the Japanese Federation of the Deaf to expand the use of sign language broadcasting to other sports in the future. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Hirano-san, for showing us how the Toyota Mobility Foundation, together with Okayama Broadcasting, is literally accelerating inclusion in Japan. And I would be remiss not to mention for the audience here on the ground at the UN this piece of paper, which should be in front of you. It has a couple of QR codes, and the reason I mentioned this piece of paper and the QR code is because Okayama Broadcasting has built a legacy in deaf programming and has done so for over 30 years already. So please also approach the representatives here if you want to learn more and or scan the QR code. Now with that impulse and with that passion of Hirano-san and Toyota Mobility Foundation, I would like to segue over to our dear friends from the Nippon Foundation, and we'll be hearing from Makiko Miyazaki on how the Nippon Foundation continues to push for global disability inclusion.
Good morning. I'm Makiko Miyazaki from the Nippon Foundation. As some of you may know, the Nippon Foundation is the largest philanthropic foundation in Japan and one of the largest in Asia. And over 60 years, we've proudly supported work in disability inclusion, both in Japan and in 48 countries abroad, particularly in Southeast Asia. And today, I'll share our work in the international sphere. So we heavily focus on education and employment for people with disabilities because then they can attain the independence necessary to become equal members of society as those without disabilities. And in this endeavor, we place importance on changing the system so that any solutions are sustainable, local-led, and long-lasting. We create this systemic change through a twin-track approach of empowering people with disabilities and engaging the society at large. Let me illustrate through some examples, first with education. So in Asia around 2000, deaf students were left behind in education because they just couldn't learn in sign language. So we changed the system by establishing a bilingual deaf education school in Vietnam, which became the first ever school of its kind in Asia. As a result, over 20 years, Vietnam went from having 0 deaf graduates of middle school to more than 110 middle school graduates and 30 university graduates. The model then expanded to the Philippines and Laos, and we're working to have the deaf students become teachers of the next generation of deaf students. Now, visually impaired students in ASEAN also lacked access to higher education. So we led systemic change by engaging in capacity building of both the students and the universities themselves so that they will admit visually impaired students in the long run. As a result, after 15 years, the number of students enrolled increased from 300 to 3,000, and universities from 30 to 250. But despite this progress, visually impaired people, and indeed people of other disabilities, still face barriers in finding employment. In response, we launched the ambitious goal of mainstreaming disability inclusion in business to raise the employability of people with disabilities. To do that, we've long supported Valuable 500, which, as you know, was founded by Caroline Casey and is a network of 500 CEOs committed to disability inclusion. It's so far reached 64 sectors in 41 countries and includes some of the world's most powerful companies, such as Google, Microsoft, and Apple. The group of 500 companies will transform the system from the top and open doors for people with disabilities in terms of employment. Finally, to increase the employability, we're engaging not just the employers themselves, but also the wider society to change their negative mindset towards disability. Namely, we've organized performances by artists with disabilities in places like the Vatican, Singapore, and Japan. We've worked with 350 artists with disabilities and reached more than 3 million audience members in more than 90 countries. The non-disabled audience members and other involved parties consistently report an increased awareness of the importance of disability inclusion and begun to increase accessibility in their own projects. So in summary, the Nippon Foundation creates system change in education and employment by empowering persons with disabilities and engaging the society at large. And we look forward to continuing this very important conversation with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Miyazaki-san. And in this global spirit, I'd like to introduce the next speaker, whose organization has been tying together global stakeholders in a variety of fields. And we'll hear more how they have also done so in the realm of global disability inclusion from Ian Brown from Salzburg Global. Ian, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Robin. Hi, everyone. My name is Ian Brown. I work for an organization called Salzburg Global Seminar. And for those of you who can't see me, I'm a white American male wearing a black shirt, a tweed jacket. My hair is slowly receding at the front, so I keep it about 3 millimeters long so that no one can see it. As Robin mentioned, I'm pleased to tell you about some of the work that we've been doing recently, both in terms of a program we're developing in Japan and also the work that we're doing in the field of tech innovation for accessibility and inclusion. For those of you who don't yet know us, Salzburg Global Seminar was founded in 1947 by 3 Harvard students who were convinced that Europe, after the Second World War, required more than just political and economic revitalization. So that summer, they convened rising leaders from across formerly warring countries to promote intellectual and spiritual renewal. After that early focus on rebuilding European and transatlantic ties, we started growing more global. And indeed, in the 60s, we were at the forefront of bridging Cold War divides, and in the 70s and 80s, we expanded beyond that, thanks in great support as well to the Nippon Foundation, who helped us bring participants from across Asia. Today, our programs convene current and future leaders to solve issues of global concern in the fields of peace, education, culture, health, and finance and governance. All of our programs aim to be inclusive, interdisciplinary, and international, as well as intergenerational. Since our founding, we've addressed these sorts of demands for inclusion, both by diving deep into the specific needs of a given community, as well as by striving to ensure that that community is engaged across all of our program areas. We've done this to improve inclusivity in terms of geography, sexual orientation, gender identities, racial and ethnic communities. And today we're increasingly recognizing the need to better engage leaders from disabled communities around the world. Again, partners like the Nippon Foundation has been hugely helpful for us in making inroads in those efforts. One of those efforts, relevant most today, is our Japan-India Transformative Technology Network. This program convenes outstanding mid-career leaders from these 2 countries that are at the forefront of technological innovation, and it aims to maximize the social benefits of these new technologies. The program encourages new collaborations between those with strong technical expertise on the one hand, and those with deep experience with addressing social challenges in their communities. The past 4 years of the program have focused on 3 interrelated fields you see here: health and healthcare, access, mobility and inclusion, and sustainable communities. In the future, we look forward to making sure that access, mobility, and inclusion plays an even stronger role in the types of participants that we engage. In keeping with the theme today of working with and in Japan, I wanted to highlight some of the things that I've experienced having played a close role in the Japan-India Transformative Technology Network. We, in particular, needed to build our networks in Japan in order to recruit new participants, disseminate the results of the work, and most importantly, to learn about what specific needs the program could address. I hope these are somewhat helpful, if not too general for all of you. One of the first things that we noticed in terms of building that relationship network was that cold call outreach based on internet research was perhaps interesting to conduct, but not ultimately very useful. Instead, reaching out via our existing contacts got us the best advice, the best introductions, and indeed those introductions often led to further introductions. Second, on language, though I am trying, I find learning Japanese is taking me a very long time. Thankfully, there are plenty of Japanese that speak wonderful English, but nonetheless, I have found it can be very helpful to have at least some introductory materials in Japanese that one can send ahead of time to prepare for the meetings and to convince colleagues beyond the person, perhaps, that you're meeting of the value of the work you're doing. And that brings me to my third point. I think face-to-face impressions still really matter. I've actually found that in order to build the trust you need for relationships, that sort of in-person meeting is key. I spent, thankfully, 2 separate occasions a month in Tokyo where I simply met as many people as I could and built on those relationships. I realize I'm extremely privileged to enjoy that level of mobility and professional flexibility, but if travel to Japan is something you can do, I would highly recommend it. And finally, network building is all about relationship development, and that follow-up is really, really important. I'm often amazed at how quickly Japanese write back to me, and sometimes, honestly, I struggle to keep up. It's something I'm still working on. I don't have great tips on this except to say that it does require time and effort, but it is hugely important. So that's where I'll stop here. If you are interested in any of our programs, in particular the Japan-India Transformative Technology Network, I'd be very pleased to get to speak to you after this meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you, and I think on your note, to really underline what combines all of the interventions we've heard so far, that everyone moves at their own rhythm and their own speed, and it's, I think, also the essence of disability inclusion in Japan, that it is human-centric, focusing on relationships, focusing on attention to detail, and I think that's what stands out, be it from Mrs. Hirano-san's program from the Toyota Mobility Foundation, be it Mrs. Miyazaki-san's work at the Nippon Foundation, or yours work at Salzburg Global, Ian. There are 2 distinguished gentlemen on our panel who we have not heard from yet, and I would like to first introduce them. To the right of me is Hisashi Matsuda, the chairman of Okayama Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and to the left of me is President Kiichiro Nakajitsu from Okayama Broadcasting. And we will have a panel discussion including them 2 as well as everyone else to kind of find closing notes in which we dissect, again, the essence of innovation within disability inclusion in Japan. And as a moderator, I'll take the opportunity to ask my first question to President Nakajitsu. As I've alluded to, Okayama Broadcasting has been pushing for programming for the hard of hearing and deaf since the 1990s. So please do tell us, how did this pioneering work ahead of its time come about?
Oh, thank you very much. That comment is very good. My name is Keiichiro Nakashi, president of Okayama Broadcasting Corporation. Before that, I want to explain our corporation. Okayama Broadcasting Corporation, OHK, for short, is a local TV station in Japan. It is our commitment to inclusive broadcasting. What is broadcasting? For one, we have been airing sign language broadcasting for and with deaf people for about 30 years in order to realize a society in which no one is left behind wrong information. Furthermore, the business cards of all the employees of Okayama Broadcasting Corporation also feature their names with braille. I would like to emphasize that it has been launching specific sign language initiatives which promotes information accessibility for all. These are initiatives taken for the first time by a broadcasting corporation in Japan. For example, in 2022, we provided full live commentary for motor sports with sign language. What is more, a live-streamed Kagawa Marugame International Half Marathon was broadcasted on TV with sign language commentary for the entire duration of 1 hour and 20 minutes. It was another first ever initiative of a broadcasting corporation in Japan. These initiatives are first and foremost for deaf people. However, the facial expressions and dynamic expressive abilities of sign language commentary captivate not only the deaf community, but also the entire audience. This made it possible to enjoy the race not only for the deaf people, but also people who can hear, for example, from children to the elderly. I'm sure that these initiatives have the potential to realize a world in which no one is left behind from information, which is also a primary role of the media. Furthermore, it cultivates business opportunities. By incorporating sign language broadcasting into the circle of economic activities, we can make them sustainable. These are realized by Okayama Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Toyota Mobility Foundation. We can make them sustainable. This is not just a one-time undertaking. We will continue to improve information accessibility as well as inclusion in order to achieve a world with zero barriers. Thank you.
Thank you, President Nakashitsu, and I think your point of reaching the entire audience with what you're doing is a really important and valid one. You alluded to the Chamber of Commerce in Okayama, and I would like to turn over to Matsuda-san and ask, as someone who is deeply involved in the commercial world, what is required of companies to realize a society free of barriers, and what importance do local companies in Okayama play?
I would like to present a new public disability welfare by which private companies in Japan, especially in Okayama Prefecture, can support persons with disabilities. I am the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry Okayama, Japan, and also I am the vice chairman of Ryobi Systems. I would like to announce the two cases. There are Chamber of Commerce everywhere worldwide in the city and the town organization of the private companies, not public, not private, but between the public and the private. We help progress of management, development of marketing, innovation between the industry, the government, and the academia. And also, we help the startup companies in every field. For example, that we are progressing sign languages, Okayama Broadcasting, OHK, supporting and some of the sponsors. And also, the case of the Ryobi Systems. Ryobi Systems is a company of the making computer software. And we are developing the name of the Visolve. That is a software for the visually impaired person or a colorblind person. So generally speaking, at the beginning of the computer system, especially personal computer, on the display, dot, line, numbers, alphabet were appeared in the black and white. After a while, we could express graph, picture in black and white. After that, display was colored. Then some of the engineers felt uncomfortable because they are the colorblind person, and they started to develop the software, modifying to change the color they can recognize. For 20 years, they are continuing to develop the Visolve, the software for the colorblind person, as free software. In United States, the Rehabilitation Law 508 Act was enforced in 2001. This law affected the disability welfare, and software of the Ryobi Systems results are expanding in the whole of the world. We, the private company, are able to touch disability affairs a person through, not through the government. And we, private company, can help the other company as a sponsor for the Help Disability Welfare Company. No one will be left behind. It's our spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mutsuda-san. And I would like to finish on a challenge. We have exactly 30 seconds left, and I will see if any of the speakers would like to give a takeaway to our audience of the specific question, what should the global disability inclusion community know about Japan? Do we have any takers? Please.
Really tough question, but I'll try. So as a young Japanese woman who grew up abroad but now works in Japan, I think that Japan does highly innovative work in both disability inclusion, but also the related field of caring for the elderly. But unfortunately, in the past, I don't think Japan has necessarily shared our work with the international community enough. And the reasons are partly the language barrier. But to be honest, I think there's an element of cultural differences, the island-looking mentality, or a lack of self-assuredness to go out on the international stage. But as the panel has shown, there are highly innovative work going on in Japan, and Japan has so much potential and valuable contributions to offer. So I hope you come talk to us, we'll come talk to you, and I look forward to all the wonderful things that will come out of our partnerships internationally.
Nothing to add to that. The time is now, and thank you to all of our speakers.